Hey everybody, it's Keagan here. I'm back with another video for you guys, and welcome to the Season 6 premiere of Keagan's Movie Reviews. Now, right off the bat, you may notice that I'm recording this video inside my car, and you might be wondering, why am I doing this video in my car and not in my room at my house like I usually do? Because I felt like doing a video in my car today. So, that's why. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about 3 films this episode. One of them I saw in theaters very recently, and the other 2 I watched a couple weeks back. So anyways, let's not waste any more time, and let's talk about them. The first film we're going to be talking about today is the controversial 1979 film Caligula, directed by Tinto Brass, and was originally released in Italy on August 14th, 1979. And this film's got a big cast, including Peter O'Toole, Helen Miren, Malcolm McDowell, and I'm trying to think of who else was in it. I don't know, but I think I've named off some of the bigger names that appeared in this movie. Now, this film is notorious and is known for being the first and only film that was produced by Penthouse, as in the adult magazine company. Now, this film is notorious for its film's explicit sexual content and violence due to its graphic violence. And I believe is banned in several countries. I know for sure it's banned in several countries due to its content. And this film I watched for the first time a couple of weeks ago out of pure curiosity. And surprisingly, it's pretty well made for a film that's basically a porno with a story, and well made for its big budget. It should go without saying that this film is for adults only. It is not intended for children due to its explicit nature. And the film is about the life of Caligula, one of the most infamous ruler of the Roman Empire, and the only emperor in the Roman Empire to be assassinated. Now, I'm not exactly sure how historically accurate the movie is, but I gotta say, for its big budget, it's pretty impressive for a film that's basically a porno, but with a storyline. But it's a pretty gory film, and there is a lot of sex in this movie, like a lot of nudity, and the sex scenes are pretty graphic. It's like, god damn, it's unlike anything I've ever seen or ever talked about on this channel over the years. But I don't really have a whole lot to say about this movie other than I thought it was a pretty well casted and a very well made film with its budget. I found it impressively well made for its budget. The music is really good, and the acting is really good too, surprisingly. And the special effects on the gore are really good too. But it wasn't a bad movie. It's not one I'd ever watch again anytime soon. But I do believe there is another cut of the movie that's going to be coming out. I believe this year. I'm not sure though. I may try to go see it, but I don't know. But it wasn't a bad film. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. But if you don't like movies with graphic violence or graphic sexual content, well, in this case, explicit, because there's a lot of people actually doing it like they do on the Discovery Channel. I guess we'll put it like that. But if that's not your thing, then I would suggest avoiding this movie. But if you're curious about it, then I guess check it out, I guess. But not a bad film. Not one I'd ever watch again anytime soon. But I guess it was kind of interesting, I guess. But yeah, I don't have anything else to add. So I'm giving Caligula a 6.5 out of 10. The next film we're going to be talking about is the 1974 film The Night Porter, which was directed by Liliana Cavini and was originally released in France on April 3rd, 1974. Now, I actually watched this one the same night I watched Caligula as a double feature. And this was a one I've been interested in for a little while, because I found the storyline pretty interesting. And I'm going to get into the storyline, and then I'll get into my thoughts on the film. Now, The Night Porter takes place in Vienna in 1957 and follows the story of an SS officer named Max, played by Dirk Bogarde, and a woman named Lucia, played by a young Charlotte Rampling. Now, Max is a former SS officer turned night porter for a hotel, and Lucia is a Holocaust survivor. The two first met each other in the Holocaust. Despite Max being an abuser to Lucia, the two had a sadomasochistic relationship despite their differences. But they don't reunite until one night when Lucia drops in at the hotel that Max works at with her husband. Her husband is I think he's like a conductor or something. Well, he's something like that. And he's on a little tour, and his wife, Lucia, came along for the trip. It isn't until they stop in Vienna when Lucia is reunited with Max, and the two try to start the spark again with their relationship they had before. However, Max and Lucia are being stalked by some of Max's former SS buddies. They're being stalked by them, and they are potentially planning to kill them both. And without giving away too much, that's basically the story of the film in a nutshell. I found the premise alone pretty interesting when I first heard about this movie. I found it a very interesting story, definitely a challenging one. And I can definitely see how this movie was considered controversial back in the day, and it could still be considered controversial today, almost 50 years later. Now, this is not a film for everybody. I personally really enjoyed the film. I thought the acting was really well done. I really liked the set designs, and it had some good music. And Charlotte Rampling delivers a great performance. Same with Dirk Bogarde, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. But it's not a film for everybody. You might like it, you might not. I personally enjoyed it for what it was. While it has its flaws with some of the writing, and the film isn't a film for everybody. I've said that 3 times already, I know. But I overall really enjoyed the film for what it was. But I don't really have a whole lot to add, so I guess I'm going to give The Night Porter an 8.4 out of 10. And the last film we're going to be talking about in this video is the new Yorgos Lanthimos film, Poor Things, based on the novel of the same name by Alasdair Gray. And the film was released on December 22nd, 2023, so this film came out very recently. And this film I saw in theaters on New Year's Eve, and this was a film I've been looking forward to. And needless to say, I loved every minute of it, but we'll get to more on that in a bit. But Yorgos Lanthimos is the same director of films like The Killing of a Sacred Deer from 2017. He also directed The Lobster, The Favorite, and Dogtooth, which is the only film that he's made that I haven't seen, but I would like to check that one out someday. I've seen the other films he's made, including his newest film, Poor Things. But I'm going to talk about the story of the film, and then I'll get into my thoughts on it, of course. So let's take a dive into Poor Things. Now, Poor Things takes place in a steampunk Victorian era. I think that's what it's supposed to take place in. And it follows a woman named Bella Baxter, played by Emma Stone. Now, Bella is actually a woman who was brought back from the dead by a scientist named Dr. Godwin Baxter, played by William Dafoe, with a great performance, I might add. So anyways, Bella was resurrected by Dr. Godwin Baxter as part of an experiment. Now, she starts off small because she's got a new brain in her body when she was resurrected. And she starts off with a bit of a childlike mentality, but as the film progresses, you see her brain mature up, I guess that's how you can say it. But as the film progresses, you see her change and how she learns to interact with others in the world, because for most of her life, since she was brought back from the dead, she lived in the house where Dr. Baxter lived. It isn't until one day when a man named Duncan, played by Mark Ruffalo, decides to bring Bella out on a venture on some parts of the world, and she basically discovers the world and herself and what she was like in her past life before she died and was brought back from the dead along the way. And without giving away too much, that's basically the story of the film in a nutshell. Now, I just want to say, I loved every minute of this movie. It was weird, it was hilarious, it was disturbing at times, and it was all around a great movie. And out of all the films that Yorgos Lanthimos has made that I've seen so far, this one's my favorite out of all the films he's made. I loved every minute of it. I love the world that this film takes place in. I love the set designs. I like the costumes. And the acting is really well done. And Emma Stone probably delivers her best, probably, in my opinion, her best performance of her career, I'd say. Like, her character is, like, very kooky. Like, has a pretty bizarre behavior, I guess I could say. Well, it's pretty interesting, to say the least. And the comedy in this film is great. If you've seen some of Yorgos Lanthimos' other films, like The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacred Deer, you know the comedy in his movies are a bit weird. It's not really for everyone, but I love the comedy in his films, and this one's probably his best for a dark comedy. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a visually stunning film with some fantastic cinematography, and I overall really liked the presentation and the style of the film. It was really, really well done, especially whenever it transitions from place to place, like where Bella goes on her journey. Like, it just shows on text where she's going, but it just shows her a random image with like different creatures and stuff. It's pretty interesting. If you've seen the film, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've never read the novel that this film is based on, but perhaps I'll check out the novel that it was based on one day. But overall, I really, really enjoyed the film, and I highly recommend it, especially if you like some of Yorgos Lanthimos' other films. You definitely shouldn't watch this movie with your parents. I can tell you that much. There's a lot of nudity and there's a lot of sex in the film. Or as Bella calls it, aggressive jumping. Aggressive jumping. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And seeing it in the theaters was quite an experience. Hell, I'm thinking about going to see it again before it gets taken out of theaters as soon as possible. And this is actually my new favorite film of 2023. I loved every minute of it. But all in all, it was a great film that I highly recommend. And if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's a great film, and it's Yorgos Lanthimos' best film so far. And I'm giving Poor Things a 10 out of 10. Well, guys, that wraps up the first episode of Season 6 to Keagan's Movie Reviews. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, as always, feel free to leave a like, leave a comment below, subscribe, turn on notifications, share the video with your friends, etc. You get the rest. And more movie review videos will be coming soon, so stay tuned for more. But anyways, guys, that's all I have to say. So until next time, this is Keagan Shepherd signing off. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. And yeah, take care, everybody. Peace out. Bye-bye.